welcome to Who Corner to Corner. My name's Geoff, and his name is Paul. How are you today?
I'm all right, mate. Actually, yeah, it's feeling almost spring-like. We're in March now, aren't we? Just a month or so away from the new season, so there is a spring in my step, as you might say.
Yeah, there's still a chill in the air, but
that's where you live, mate. It's tropical down here, I tell you. Yeah,
well, I don't mind
beautiful.
that too much, really. So I'm quite happy with that. So we thought we'd do an episode to discuss our thoughts, hopes, and fears leading up to the launch of season 2. So, if you've listened to us before, you'll know that we were both not too hot on season 1.
Not too hot. Not too hot.
Not too hot.
Good way of putting it, Jeff.
It was
disappointing.
Yeah.
A bit rubbish. No, it wasn't rubbish. No, that's unfair. A lot of people do like it, just not particularly us. Yeah. Go back and watch the podcast. You'll know what we thought of it.
I think
we did podcasts on every episode, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We just after we watched them, and some of our initial thoughts were actually quite positive. I thought.
Yeah, there was always something that we liked. You know, Ncuti was always really good, and
absolutely.
Millie. But for me, maybe my inability to move on from Jodie,
it's a massive part of it,
has affected things, but it just didn't click for me, and I felt that an 8-episode season in which the main character
is short, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean that's fine. It doesn't particularly bother me.
You do 8 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, but when your main character is only in 6.5 of them, it's kind of a huge problem, really. But there we go. There was some absolutely atrocious plotting in these, everyone's a writing expert now. This, that, and the other's got bad writing. This really did have bad writing. Name signs.
The craftsmanship of it, I thought, was quite often found wanting. Perhaps, to put it mildly. I think for me, because as you know, I watched the series again, and there was a lot more stuff that I appreciated perhaps on the second watch, but I think in the back of my head whilst I was watching, particularly some of the earlier episodes like Space Babies and what have you, there was always this knowledge that it's not actually going to go anywhere. That a lot of the threads that are kind of set up, they're not going to be answered this season. They're possibly going to go on to season 2, but actually those that are tied up, in my opinion anyway, actually frizzle away to nothing very exciting or interesting. So that kind of put a bit of a damper on my rewatch experience. And by the time we got to the final couple of episodes of that series, I think I was struggling, really, really struggling, and to sort of stay engaged with it, to stay awake, to stay even mildly interested, because a part of it, as you say, is because the craftsmanship in the writing didn't quite seem to be there. There were a lot of shortcuts made, there were a lot of leaps of logic, there were a lot of sudden left turns that were there, seemed to be there simply to kind of throw the audience without any kind of sort of precondition for why they should be there. You don't have to have that. Of course, as a writer, you can write what the hell you want, and if it'll land, it lands, brilliant, you're a genius. But if it doesn't, you find that people are going to start looking into the structure of it and thinking, well, why not this, why that, why this, why that, And
I remember thinking that Legend of Ruby Sunday was a pretty...
You quite enjoyed that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
I didn't really. I thought it was an episode about a whole bunch of build-up. I thought it was a massive cliches. I think everything was kind of literally signposted apart from the actual signpost.
Yeah.
So,
it was build up, but I remember sort of thinking this is exciting, and then
it's going to pay off, right?
Yeah, Sutek appeared,
and then
and I'll be honest, like I don't feel like I'm often disappointed by things. I kind of know what I'm getting when I go into something, or what I think I'm going to get, and I'll either kind of love it the way I think I'm going to, or be surprised and love it more. But I actually, for the first time watching Doctor Who, in a very long time of doing so, I was disappointed. And I remember thinking after, what was it, Empire of Death, just shit. Sorry, it was really disappointing.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, Sutek was wasted. I remember sort of thinking, you know, it was exciting when, you know, albeit with a bloody anagram, you know, the name was revealed and he appeared and stuff, and I thought,
if you're 10 years old, that sort of thing is brilliant. I used to love that kind of thing when I was a kid.
I do try to think sometimes, you know, like I watched Space Babies with my twin girls, and one of them was going, is he a bogey? Is he a bogey monster? And she quite liked that the thing was literally a bogey monster, and quite enjoyed it.
That stuff. Yeah.
So I try and think, and I've said this before, you know, it's not made just for you or just for me or you know, whoever. It's trying to appeal to everyone, and which is one of the things that's difficult for the show. But you know, Sutek, I thought, oh, the rumours are true, oh, amazing, and then utterly wasted. He just stood on the TARDIS, you know, leaned on it, and then, you know, the Ruby thing with the sign magically appearing and the mum in the hood pointing at it, and somehow they go, oh, she's telling us to call her Ruby, and but nobody had seen the CCTV.
The ominous pointing,
just, you know, it's just nonsense. So, but anyway, you know, it can't all be great, I guess, and other, what is the, you know, your mileage may vary. Other people may well love it. And,
well, there were a lot of people online that we interact with who loved it, and I think that's brilliant. You know, a constant reminder to all of us, like you said, that, you know, it isn't just for you or me or, you know, my mate or whatever.
Know, I may not have loved it, but if you know, an other person did, great. You know, you and I have spent, as have many others, years on the receiving end of no one likes the 13th Doctor era, which we know is not true. But, you know, what I kind of realise is, and have kind of known all along, is that different things resonate differently with different people. So this season 1 didn't really work for me, but it worked for other people. But, you know, we're approaching season 2, and I go into it excited and hopeful, and I'll be honest, that trailer blew my socks off. You know, it looked like it's got a little bit of horror, a bit of sci-fi, you know, some fun. Yeah, you know, and as a fan of, you know, like Disney stuff and, you know, old classic animations, you know, Mr. Dingaling or whatever he's called, you know, him coming out the screen, that's cool.
Oh, is that what he's called, Mr. Dingaling?
I think so.
Is that a euphemism?
Well, that's what
Mr. Dingaling. Do you want to meet Mr. Dingaling? Come say hello to Mr. Dingaling. He's knocking on the door. Sorry,
Mr. Dingaling's ready for you.
Oh dear, yeah. Sorry for bringing the tone down. I do apologise, Mr. Dingaling.
It's
kind of a Captain Pugwash sort of thing, isn't it?
I've got to look that up because maybe that's not what he's called. Mr.
What is he actually called, Jeff?
Mr. Ring-a-ding.
Mr. Ring. Oh, that's what I mean. You call them potatoes, I call them potatoes. I made a tomato. What's the difference, huh? Ring-a-ling, ding-a-ling. You want to ding my ring-a-ling? I'll ring your ding-a-ling. Whatever.
When I saw it first, I was like, surely he hasn't called him Mr. Ding-a-ling.
Oh, that's injured me, that has.
Oh, no.
Lol.
Anyway, so yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that's looking really good in this, but of course trailers can be deceiving.
Yeah, they're all out of context, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't know what frames that. And to be fair, the season 1 trailer looked pretty good as well, with all them cars getting shoved away by this massive cloud of dust tumbling through the city streets. But
that ended up being like a 1 second shot in it. You know?
That was the shot, wasn't it? The shot used in the trailer was pretty much the shot they used in the thing.
And that, of course, that could be the case here. That you know, the stuff we're seeing are really brief shots, and that'll be it. But I do feel that this looks to be on a bigger scale. You know, this is where you know the money, the supposed Disney money, has gone.
Yeah,
it's looking really big, I think.
You think? Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the fence of it. I'm massively mistrustful of trailers these days, and this one more so. I think, you know, watching it, because I watched it just before we jumped on, just to remind myself, and to actually watch it, because I haven't seen the whole thing until just now. Really, I've seen snatches, so this is the first time I've really sort of watched it. It does look. It looks a lot more confident, perhaps, than Series 1.
Which is strange, as it was shot straight after.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, that's it. But I think
know,
in terms the scope, as you said, again looks to be a lot higher. There's that dinosaur creature made of, the skeleton
thing,
which looks pretty awesome. There are a lot of awesome little snippets in there. So I really just hope that they come together and form part of some really incredible stories that just make me want to jump for joy like a 10-year-old. I think
that's what I'm hoping for.
That's what I'm hoping for.
And I'm interested in Belinda and this story of she
do you know what? There's one thing actually that threw me off. It's probably that, because I was looking for. I've seen some of the interviews in Doctor Who magazine and what have you, and, on the Confidential with and I kind of another companion, great. It's always fun to jump into another companion story and find out who they are and where they come from and everything else. And obviously it's the same actor that we had in Boom, right? So she's in that, which I thought was just a thing that Doctor Who was going to treat differently than what it actually looks like they're going to treat. So there's going to be some link by the look of things, which just annoys me, because now suddenly we've got another mysterious girl kind of concept, and I honestly, right now at this moment, I kind of don't care. I feel like we've seen this before. We've seen it with Clara, because we saw her in different guises before she was actually introduced to us, and I just think there was the whole Rose Bad Wolf thing. I was
going to say I'm interested in
I don't
present day Belinda and this thing of she wants to go home and he can't get her home and stuff, and there's a rumour that Earth gets destroyed because there's those teasers with bits of like Statue of Liberty and
but you know what will happen, right? Earth will be destroyed and it'll be magically reassembled by the end of the series.
Yeah, well, it will be,
because it's not going to forever remain destroyed in the Doctor Who universe, is it? It can't be. So, if they're just going to do that and then just put it all back together again like a bunch of Lego, I will be massively crushed. Not going to lie.
Because you just know it'll be, it's like
so,
when...
And that's the thing, it's like, it's almost like standard kind of Russell T Davies stuff, and probably even Moffat is kind of guilty of this as well. Let's tell the big grand scale stuff, and focus on those moments that are going to get people jumping out of the seat. But do you know what? By the end of the episode, everything will be fine again. By the end of the series,
like when,
there'll have been a journey, but everyone's actually going to be okay.
But like when Kate Stewart was dusted,
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone died at the end. In the first 5 minutes of Empire of Death, and then by the end of the episode, they're all fine. They're walking about, carrying on with their jobs and their lives.
And even though it was like. But also, I was going to say, I was like, oh God, they're all getting dusted. But in the back of my head, I was like, they'll be back next episode.
They'll be back. Yeah. So, in terms of raising the stakes, I'd argue that it doesn't. It doesn't raise any stakes. It just leads to crushed expectations.
Yeah.
Dear, what do we sound like? A couple of old men. It's not as good as it was in my day. Oh, no.
That's what I worry about, if we turned into that. And I think,
dear. What have we become?
I just
dear.
I really hoped that Series 1 was going to be, like for me, it was probably never going to match, any of the Chibnall era.
Oh, you said you can't. You're still struggling, leaving that behind.
Yeah, but I didn't expect to feel this disappointed by it. It was like Boom. I thought, oh, that's a great idea. The Doctor's stuck on a landmine, but then it was literally.
There was a whole episode. What can you do? So you write yourself into a hole.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Moffat did a great job on that, to be fair, in raising the stakes with the players around the Doctor. The Doctor can't do anything, so he can't stop people making stupid decisions. He can't stop people shooting Ruby, for example. He can't stop the ambulances coming. So what he can do is try and influence and persuade people. And as we've seen, when the Doctor's pressed against the wall, that skill becomes really tested. Like we saw in Midnight. The Doctor, I'm clever, I can persuade anyone, I can work my way out of any situation. But when he's trapped, he has to really work incredibly hard. And that kind of gives you that sort of, well, actually, will he, won't he, be able to get out of this kind of thing, which I thought was brilliant in Midnight, and I thought it was brilliantly done in Boom, so there is that. But you are essentially taking the Doctor out of the action by doing that, and that leads to a different type of episode, which perhaps doesn't tick everyone's boxes.
No, and maybe if it was, episode 6 of series 2, you could have got away with it.
Maybe.
But not episode 3 in series 1. And it was like 73 yards. I was really excited for that, spooky, and then it just turned into party political thing.
Well, see, I enjoyed that. I think when I watched it again, I thought that's probably one of the strongest episodes of the story. But you're right, the Doctor's not in it.
Yeah,
and it hangs on. Yeah, and it hangs on a massive plot contrivance. The Doctor just mentions, just off the cuff, that this future Prime Minister, Ap Gwilliam, was an absolute nutcase, and then it just happens to be the focus on Ruby's alt universe story, and then she stops him. But then it just happens that actually none of that really matters, because Ruby continues living a life way beyond that, and actually dies in that. So it's kind of like, well, what was the point of it? What do we learn through that story? There's nothing. It's an interesting little tale, like one of those ghost stories you read in an anthology. It's like, okay, stands on its own, stands alone. I think if you look at it from that perspective, then it rates more highly. And I think the story writing is a lot better than that, apart from that, minor contrivance perhaps. But and then we've also got the weird people in the pub, which I didn't like.
That's the part that I was, they really trailered it as a horror type thing, and I was thinking, this will be really good. Then it just ended up not being that at all.
No, it didn't. Again, a good example of trailers raising expectations that are not delivered. It's like, I don't know, you're probably too young for this, but have you ever seen the trailer for the Blade Runner movie? It's one of it's my top movies. Listeners to this podcast will know, and it's trailed as a kind of very action orientated movie with Harrison Ford going around these dark neon lit city streets of future Los Angeles with a big gun, and that's not what the film is at all. It's just not that. So no wonder audience is disappointed. It's that kind of thing. Let's try and sell this as something, even though it's not actually that.
I remember
trailers are ridiculous for that sometimes.
With, a film called Nope. I don't know if
I have seen that. Actually, I loved that film. You didn't like it, did you?
No.
I texted you after I watched it. I remember, because you said, "Well, that was a pile of shit film or something." And I'm like, "Wow, I'm enjoying it so far."
Yeah, and I don't normally. I'm not normally that sort of harsh like that on things, but
he was harsh, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you now, he was very harsh on that movie.
It was trailed like a sort of sci-fi horror type thing, and then it just wasn't at all. And I was disappointed because of the way it was sold.
Because you've been led to believe that's what it was going to be.
Yeah, and it was a bit like there's a film called Ad Astra with Brad Pitt in it.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm not sure I really want to.
In my recollection, it's trailered like an action film, and then I went to see it and basically ended up having a cry at the end of it because it was really emotional. It's got barely any action in it, and I was like, okay, it turned out to be really quite good. I'll never watch it again because I don't feel the need to. But it wasn't what it was trailered as at all.
See?
So
hence my original statement of I view trailers with some suspicion these days.
So I do, I don't want to be
I enjoyed
one of these.
By the way,
well, that's good. Someone's
really,
got
really
to.
good. But I didn't watch the trailers. Actually, no. I was watching a Marvel film at the cinema. It might have been Eternals or something like that. Or that was about the same sort of time, wasn't it? Maybe before that. Whatever. Anyway, point being, I saw the trailer and it was just a teaser. It was really, really quick. Just something that was weird going on in this, in that sort of outback landscape in the middle of the US. So I thought, this, and just the tone was coming through. There wasn't really any dialogue. It was just a tone, a teaser, and I thought, this sounds pretty good. I kind of switched into that vibe. So I had no idea, and I deliberately avoided any other trailers because I thought plot twists and all of that sort of stuff. A 2-minute trailer was going to give so much away or whatever. So I definitely avoided everything, and maybe that was why I enjoyed the film a bit more, perhaps, than you did.
Maybe, quite.
Because I went into it with no expectations other than, I hope it's going to be a good twisty-turny plot ride kind of thing.
Yeah, but just didn't do it for me.
Didn't do it for Geoff. Yeah, but we're all different, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you like Winter Soldier, so.
Oh, I forgot you didn't like that. Weirdo. So I thought I'd read a few comments from people.
Go on then. What have we got?
their thoughts coming up to it. So Thasmin and Jarin, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Thasmin and Jarin's podcast.
Yes, that's the one. Excited, worried, but expecting unpredictability in my opinions like last year, as that was quite a ride. Yeah, it could well go that way, that some of it's excellent, some of it's not. Also, I'm just looking at the post that we put up on Twitter to ask people's opinions, and I just want to say on X, the picture, that the poster that they've used to promote this season.
Oh, you didn't like that, did you?
It's awful. Like, it's all dark purple. The Doctor's got his back to us, so we can't see him. He's got a dark coat that's mostly covered in shadow. You can't see his face clearly. It's awful. And then you look at the one of Belinda, and it's not even a promo shot of her. So they just cut her out of a still. It's just like, who's signing this stuff off?
Maybe they just don't have any money.
Nonsense.
I don't think that's true at all. I think somebody's looked at it and thought, "Oh, that's amazing. We're going to go with that." That's just blinding.
Honestly,
that is.
You literally can hardly see Ncuti on that poster in the dark jacket.
Do you not think it looks kind of moody though? It gives them kind of, again, it's like a noirish graphic novel-y kind of vibe.
I get what they were probably going for. It's a darker season, maybe, but I can't see the guy's face.
I'm just loading up now, actually, so I can take a butcher's at it again.
And the Belinda poster, like, oh God, so was I know I sound really lonely, but the stuff they did for the last series, even though it was a bit of a weird Photoshop, but he had his hand out at the camera, and the coat was swirling and stuff. It looked good.
Dynamism.
Yeah, I want to see the Doctor. I
don't know. I kind of like it. I think the shape of it is quite interesting. The Doctor sort of looking over his shoulder, like in that way, as if to say, "Are you still following me?"
Yeah, I mean, he's got an arched eyebrow. It's just
it's a quizzical thing.
It's just anyway.
Yeah, I'd like it. I think it's fine.
So moving on from that,
moving on swiftly forward. What else have you got, Geoff? Who says what?
Simon, who's craving an fried egg sandwich. Says indifferent. Season 1-ish had a couple of okay episodes in Boom and Rogue, but the rest of it wasn't for me, at least for the finale. And I still think it's weird that they've virtually ditched Ruby so soon.
You said that as well, didn't you, when we were watching it? And at the time, I think you said, "Well, is that Ruby gone then? And why? I was just getting to know her."
Yeah. I mean, she's back a little bit in this new season, but I don't know, maybe it was a mandate from the higher-ups or something, but it just seems a bit weird to have introduced this new companion and then go and get rid of her so quickly like that, and, I can't see, unless we all end up surprised and her involvement somehow ties in with Belinda from Boom or whatever, Sunday Monday or whatever she was called.
I don't care. The flying monkey. I just want a good story, mate. That's all I want. I do care about the companions if I can be invested in their story enough. If their story is strong enough to engage my interest in, and make me feel like I want to be with them and want to travel with them and want to follow their adventures and their pains and their struggles and their revelations, and if I want to be part of their journey from being somebody they don't want to be to somebody who becomes empowered, by their experiences, who can change, who can be their inner hero without having it like suddenly burst out of them like a magic wand from God or something. Then I'm more interested. But if it's just going to be the same sort of stuff that we had in Russell's original run of Doctor Who, then I just don't want to see it. I just do not care. So
so we'll see.
It sounds rough, doesn't it?
So
I don't care.
Joshua Patton says, I'm into it, but I have been feeling some kind of way about the whole thing with Disney was to bolster the budget, but we're getting fewer episodes and they take forever to debut. It's not just a Doctor Who problem either. Really robs shows of their momentum.
Yeah,
I mean, Joshua's, he's not wrong, and like we haven't even talked about has Ncuti left or is Series 3 happening or whatever. But whatever happens, there's going to be nothing until possibly late next year.
Not going to be for a while, is it?
Yeah. Not going to be for
and
a while,
again, it was like when this whole new era started, it was like, we're going into production, we're going to follow them one after the other. We've already blocked season 2, so we're going to start on that literally straight after, even at the same time we're filming season 1. We got the spin-off going on as well, and then blah, 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 blah. With all this investment from Disney and Sony and what have you.
And now it's slowed down again, and there'll be nothing new coming. I'm just loading up some comments on.
But maybe this is why they did Series 2, knowing that they had to jump on it while the buzz was still buzzing, so to speak.
I think it was good that they went into
strike while the iron's hot. We've got this window now. We can produce 2 series and a spin-off. Let's just do it. Get it done, because who knows what's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah, quite. Yeah. Our friend Jonathan Wilkins from Titan.
Hey, G-Dog.
Very excited, of course.
Of course.
And then, who's this? Mason says, needs to deliver. That was it.
Oh, there's an ultimatum. Needs to deliver!
Then Quill Pen says, so excited. Can't wait to meet Belinda.
Awesome.
Mr. Dingerling, Mrs. Flood. I forgot all about Mrs. Flood.
So they called it Mr. Dingerling.
No,
is that where you got it from? You just said that.
He's called
Mr. Ring-a-ding. Is it ring-a-ding? Ring-a-ling-a-ding-a-ding?
Ring-a-ding.
Ring-a-ling-a-ding-a-dong-dong-dong.
A Universal Song Contest. Now, I must admit, I'm quite looking forward to that one with Rylan in it. I quite like Rylan.
It's like my worst nightmare. No, my worst nightmare actually was Bridgerton in Doctor Who, and that turned out to be, that's not right. But again, as we said, everybody's got a different cup of tea.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different brew. Me, I prefer a stronger one.
So, over on Facebook, Blaine Coughlin says, as always with new series of Doctor Who, incredibly excited. After all, Doctor Who is simply everything.
Well, there is that, of course.
It is said that a day without Doctor Who is a day wasted, and never has a truer word been spoken.
I love that. We should make that our mantra. We should put that on everything. Thank you, Blaine, for that.
Yeah, we're going to have that. Blaine's right. I think even in an episode that hasn't clicked for me fully, there's always something to like.
So what did you like in Empire of Death then?
In Empire of Death, I liked.
I'll put you on the spot.
I liked that Ncuti was good in it, and there was quite a nice shot of the TARDIS floating in the space with him. Richard Hardman says apathy. That's all he said. I think that might
care neither one way nor the other, basically.
Yeah. That might have been all the comments we had in there, and then we've got a couple of voice notes as well, I believe. And I'll also
we do, yes. So we heard from Liam and James, didn't we?
Quickly. Hold on one moment.
I mean, you queued me up to go straight into this, and then going on to something else.
Yeah,
you're such a professional.
You play those whilst I find.
Shall I play them? I'll tell you what, Jeff. Why don't I play these while you fiddle about online? Right. Yes. Okay. So let's hear from James first. Then here we go.
Hello, Hoodoo Corner.
Hello, James.
This is James, and I want to tell you that I am stoked. I was all over season 41, and I'm taking no questions on that matter.
Season 41.
Like a rush. So full of joy and intrigue, as always, of course. That's Doctor Who, isn't it? So season 42, with its fantastic trailers, brimming with thrills. Can't come soon enough.
Yes.
I'm gutted that I'm going to be abroad for the opening weekend party. But you know what? I'm going to really enjoy catching up with it when it comes along. So there we are. That's my feeling on the matter.
Excellent.
So, good luck. Let's enjoy the new series. Really, really looking forward to it.
Yes.
And a quick shout out, if I may.
Yes.
To a couple of Blue Sky friends.
Go for it.
Morgan. And to Maggie.
The Baggy.
Great to know you both. All right. Take care.
Brilliant. Take care, you too.
Yeah,
thank you, James, for that. That's smashing. So James is stoked for it. That's good news. I'm really pleased by that, actually. I love it when people love stuff. I do, generally, even if I don't. So I think that is brilliant. Also, so let's hear from Liam, who sent us a voice note in as well.
Well, a very good afternoon to the C2C boys.
Hey!
Few thoughts ahead of the upcoming season.
Go on.
I always like the second season of a Doctor. I find it's where the actor settles into the role and you find a little bit more narrative dexterity in the sort of themes explored. Especially so this year is that a lot of what we've been seeing since the Starbeast is coming to a conclusion this year. So, you know, we're looking at a good 19 worth episodes to kind of build up to King of the May, which we're going to be seeing at the end of the season. What am I looking forward to? Further exploration of those themes, seeing how Susie bounces off a new actress, brings out different facets of the character. I always find that's fantastic in a new Doctor when you get to see them play opposite various different companions, actresses, and how it brings out different dynamics, facets of that character. What I'm really excited about, you know, there's a lot of percolating about the future of the show post season 2. You know, and I'm not a doom bringer by any sense of imagination, but what I would find is that we are at the cusp of a new wilderness. You know, we cast our mind back to the 1990s, and that's where we had our Chris Chibnall's, our Russell T. Davies, our Stephen Moffat, and Mark Gatiss. All came through.
Good point.
Finding jobs in the industry, kind of generating, germinating their version of the show. Will we be seeing this year the genesis of 20 years' time and the next iteration of the show? What themes are going to be explored then? What seeds are being planted? I can't wait, guys. I'm going to hand over back to you.
Thank you, Liam. Wow, some really good stuff Liam's pointed out there. I never thought of that, actually. That's a really good point because, those wilderness years of the sort of 90s and the land of the new adventures, the new Doctor Who adventures. Ben Aranovich, all right, Ben Aranovich never stayed. He went on to be successful in something else. But, absolutely. Russell T. Davies, Stephen Moffat, those guys, Paul Cornell, they were all kind of writing for the show. Mark Gatiss as well. Another one. So those are the names that kind of kicked off the modern era, aren't they? So
they are. Well,
very interesting.
People watching now will be working on it in years to come.
I was going to say also, sorry, because I think it's really interesting. It's just those stories were both the same and yet very different from the 1980s stories. Those new adventures, they were a different type of Doctor Who, and we've seen elements from those bleed into the modern era. So very interesting. Go on, I'll give you permission to continue.
Thank you. So some comments on Blue Sky. Maddie, which might be who James mentioned, there's also someone called Baggy on Blue Sky.
Yes, Baggy or Maddie, whichever one of those James mentioned. I thought you said Maggie, but you could be right.
Is good for me.
Let's ship them both.
Maddie says, excited because I love 15, so even if there's a few flaws, I'm sure I'll enjoy it anyway. Daniel Rawnsley says, cautiously optimistic. I've been trying hard to tune out all the whispers of uncertainty around the show's short-term future and just enjoy what we get. DW is always crying out for fresh voices, so I'm quite excited by the new writers on board this season.
Very good point.
And intrigued by the Can't Get Home plotline. Supreme Human says, hopefully I am excited, but cautiously to avoid being disinterested. Salamander60 says, I'm excited for this new season. Both the trailers look amazing, and some of the more outlandish rumours make this one to really look forward to. KBO, guys.
Outlandish rumours? I haven't heard any outlandish rumours.
And then here's Baggy, just mentioned, cautiously hopeful. I liked quite a few things. I liked quite a few things highlighted in the trailer, but not too sure about the cartoonish elements. Hoping to find out who or what Mrs. Flood is, probably the Rani, and really hope, because Flood is like rain, which is an anagram of Rani. I saw someone post that on.
Who knows? I mean, we've had worse.
Yeah. And really hoping Ncuti and the powers that be impress me after a patchy first season. Looking forward to watching Verada and to find out what's going on with Ruby and her family. We've seen her biological mum, but what about her biological father?
Good point.
So many questions, but not sure we'll get all the answers. So I think some people are really looking forward to it. Other people, I think, probably a bit like us, are sort of cautiously hopeful. And I hope that when I watch it, I am blown away. I hope when we come back in a couple of weeks to record the first episode review,
when is it going out? Is it April
12th.
April 12th.
Yeah, and I hope
it's not
I'm
far
going.
away, is it?
That was fantastic.
That was amazing. I was blown away mindlessly. I turned to a literal vegetable while we were asking cooks myself. It was that good.
Yes. I don't know what that means. So yes, I'm hoping to be blown away. So we'll see, and we'll be asking for your input, listeners, and let us know what you think of it all.
So, just picking out a few things from the trailer then.
Yeah.
So we talked about Mr. Dingaling.
Yeah.
So are we looking at a kind of a Who Framed Roger Rabbit sort of thing, do you think? Are we looking at something a bit like Maestro, where musical notes come to life and stuff like that? Are we going to get more of that kind of weird magical realism, do you think?
Possibly, yeah. They haven't released any episodes. Is that going to be quite
divisive?
Probably. Everything's divisive these days, isn't it?
Well, this is true. Actually. It's a very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point that you make. Yeah.
Everyone hates
But you
everything.
are looking forward to the Eurovision Song Contest episode. Sorry, what is it called? The Galactic
Intergalactic.
Intergalactic. So Ryland's going to be in this, isn't he? TV celebrity and radio DJ Ryland Thingamabob.
Yeah.
We're good, aren't we? We know everybody, obviously.
Yeah. So, hopefully that'll be quite fun.
I mean, Ryland's a bit fun, isn't he?
I like him, yeah.
He's got a good personality, but so is he just kind of playing a sort of souped-up version of himself? Kind of puts me in mind of Ken Dodd in Delta and the Bannermen, where he's given a different hat, but essentially it's still Ken Dodd. Is this still Ryland? I don't know, mate.
I read that he's been cryogenically frozen and brought back.
Oh, so it is actually Ryland as a cryogenically restored, or restored from cryogenics. Ryland. So he's actually kind of playing himself. I mean, I think he could make it really fun. So I think he's a fun guy to listen to. A bit like a mushroom, but I don't know, the whole song contest thing. I don't know what's going to happen with it.
No.
I generally, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I'd read synopsis like this, and I think, I don't know what it's going to be like. The Doctor visits the Galactic Song Contest, and I'd just be burying my head thinking, oh, God, all my mates already think Doctor Who's a pile of shit. Why are they doing this? I'm going to get it when I go to school.
Hopefully it'll end up being...
Maybe it's just that pain coming back, Doctor Who meets the Candyman again. My God. Oh. Well, and then you get people like Michael Grade who want to trash it, who just say, well, look at this! And they show a clip of the Merca where the audience howls with laughter and says, get rid of it, it's rubbish,
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope it's good. There's some good shots of Marines in that, isn't there, with their laser guns and storming various places, and there's some creepy masks and whatever going on.
Coming over Ruby's boyfriend's shoulder and stuff, So, yes, we will be back. Well, we'll be back every week. But
is that it? We're done?
Okay. I think so. I should go and do some work, really. So, we'll be back to review these episodes soon, and we'll look forward to hearing what you all think of them.
Indeed,
as well.
Yes. So, let's see what it turns out.
Take care, and we'll catch you next time.
Ta-ta for now. Bye.
Bye.